I appreciate you joining so much. If you are watching the playback of this video, please drop in the comments hashtag playback so that I can see who's all joining and who's all watching the playback. Okay, if you are here live with me today, I want you to drop where you are, showing up from. So where are you joining from today? Drop that in the comments. You can leave the city or you can put the state. Like I'm here from South Carolina, I'm here from New Orleans or whatever. You can drop that in the comments for me and I will be able to see. I want to see all of the comments. Okay. So, um, today I wanted to we're going to be discussing how we are making sure that we are holding on to ourselves and maintaining our personal identity outside of marriage and outside of motherhood. And so last week was the first week, and we kickstarted with hobbies, talking about personal interests and hobbies, and how having hobbies and maintaining those interests assist us in, hey, thank you. Make sure you drop where you're coming from. Thank you. So last week we were talking about hobbies and how having those personal interests actually assist us in making sure that we are keeping our identities apart from marriage, apart from motherhood. We want to stay within ourselves. Even if you're in a relationship and you're not married, this still can work for you. We're trying to find ways that we can hold on to our identity and we don't just become consumed in our relationships, because it's so easy for us to lose ourselves in those moments. So we want to make sure that we are maintaining our own individual identities. And so last week we talked about those personal interests. We talked about things that we were interested in before we got married, before we had children, things that we wanted to do as a child. We also talked about new skills or new hobbies that we were interested in possibly pursuing. I mentioned that I wanted to learn how to play the piano. I'm actually looking for a piano instructor right now in the area so that I can go back and do piano. So we actually had a very rich discussion. It was brief, but we shared a lot of hobbies that we were doing, what we were doing currently, and thinking about other things that we could do. So it was actually a very rich experience, and I thank everyone who joined. Today, our focus is going to be me time. So in order for us to pursue those personal interests and make sure that we can maintain the hobbies that we're interested in, we need to make sure that we are making time for ourselves. So let's start. First, I want you guys to tell me, what does me time mean to you? What does me time mean to you? Drop that in the comments and share with us. What does me time mean to you? Hey, what does me time mean to you? Okay, for me, I will start. Me time for me, because I don't see a comment, but me time for me is just exactly what it sounds like. That's my time to do what I want to do. Okay. My time to pursue, whatever maybe I don't want to do anything. Maybe I want to, I don't know, listen to music or go out or something like that. My time is for me, meaning that it's uninterrupted. I get to do what I want to do. So we have a response. Me time is doing whatever makes me feel relaxed or energized. I like that. Yes. Me time is relaxed and energized. Things that replenish us and kind of restore us. I like that. Okay. What does me time mean to you? Time for me and me only, no outside. I like that. Yes, your time to withdraw, your time to get away, time for yourself to, I like that whole replenish thing, feeling relaxed, I'm not stressed. It's a time for me to de-stress and decompress. I like that. Okay. So me time. So like I was saying before, me time for me is just, I enjoy whatever I want to enjoy. I don't want that time to be dictated by something. And in that time, I don't want to have to serve anyone. I don't want to have to do something for someone else during my me time, because that's not me time for me. Me time is not me going to the grocery store. That's something that I have to do. So that doesn't really count. Even though I'm doing it alone, it still does not count as something that's not me using my free time. All right, so I have another one, doing my own thing. No hubby, no kids. Exactly. Your own thing, something for you that benefits and serves you, right? So that's what we want to talk about. We want to find a way, talk about how we can prioritize and make sure that we are engaging in this me time because it's necessary. We need this time. And so it leads me to my next question for you. How are you prioritizing your time? How are you making a point to have me time? What are you doing? Okay. So that's the next question. How do you prioritize it in your busy life? How do you ensure that you're receiving that alone time, that me, myself, and I time on your own? How are we making sure that that's happening? I'm so nervous, y'all. I know one of the ways that I make sure that I prioritize time for myself and that I have an opportunity to spend time with myself is I schedule it. So that's my first tip for you. If you're struggling in this area and you're having a hard time finding a way to make sure that you get the time that you need to yourself, schedule it. Okay. Everything is on a schedule here, right? We have a digital family calendar, that we all know what everyone else's schedule is. Like, oh, Cruz has practice 2 days a week. Quentin has this. Judah has an appointment coming up. Whatever the situation may be, we make sure and we prioritize making sure that our children and our husband's schedules are intact and they get to do what they need to do. But we need to make sure that we put that same time and same energy in making sure that we get to do what we need to do, right? I used to have a schedule. I used to schedule it, but now it's just whenever I need it. Okay, well, that's good. It's good to have it in a way where you can pick it up when you feel like you need it. Okay, so scheduling it was also something that you did in the past. Plan it in advance. Exactly. Planning it in advance kind of like takes a whole lot of stress off of it because your partner is already aware that this is what you're going to be doing. Your kids are accustomed to like, oh, well, we know that Saturday mornings, that's mama's time to herself. So then once it's scheduled and it becomes like a routine, it's like the whole family just kind of falls in line and they know that, oh, that's your personal time and they respect that. And that's really big. Also, I want you guys to, if you find that you can't schedule it, or maybe you, like someone had mentioned, like you need it right now, I recommend that maybe you wake up early. If you're a morning person, which I am, wake up before everyone else wakes up so that you can get that time in. Maybe you just like to have a cup of coffee and quiet. You don't want to be bothered. You don't want anybody to talk to you when you first wake up. Maybe you're that type of person. I'm not. Like, I'm talking as soon as I wake up. But if you are that type of person, then maybe you want to wake up early before everyone wakes and have that personal time. Read a chapter of your favorite book. Have your coffee in silence. Sit in the dark in silence with no stimulation. Maybe that works for you. But if you're like also like a night owl, which I tend to kind of be a night owl too, if you're that, then you can choose to do your me time at the end of the day when everyone is asleep. Like once the kids are washed in bed and your husband is doing his own thing, maybe during that time, maybe that's the time that you can use for yourself. I know that I find a lot of me time when Judah is napping. During the week, I get a lot of like my own personal time during that time because Judah is napping, Cruz is at school, Quentin's at work. So that's kind of like my decompressed time. And it's kind of ingrained, it's pretty much involved in my everyday. I do it every day because Judah has a nap every day. So that kind of works. So whenever you need it, get it. Okay. Make sure that you get it. My third point is don't underestimate the amount of time. Like, don't think to yourself that, oh, for me to have me time, I need like a solid hour, 2 hours to myself. 10 minutes might do the trick, okay? The whole point and purpose is we want to relax, de-stress, kind of like re-energize and restore ourselves so that we can kind of show up as our best selves for our families. And so to do that, we want to make sure that we want to make sure that we get it. And sometimes we can't get an hour to ourselves. So 10 minutes might work. 10 minutes here, 5 minutes there. I know that in the evening, when Quentin gets off from work, he normally de-stresses and he like decompresses in the car on the way home. Because once he gets home, he already know Judah is at the door waiting on him. Because that's what we do. And I need that time. Like, I need that. I have been with Judah all day. Now I've been helping Cruz with his homework for the past 2 hours, which really is just a power struggle there. So I need that time, that little 10, 15 minutes of him getting Judah, maybe taking Judah outside or feeding Judah. Just get the kids, you know? So do not underestimate what a small amount of time can do for you, okay? So I also wanted us to talk about, let's talk about what is preventing us, or what are some roadblocks that we may be facing that is preventing us from having me time. Why isn't it a priority to you? What is hindering you from getting the time that you need? Planet, okay, I already read those comments. What is, if I'm not asking it correctly, what obstacles are you facing when it comes to getting the me time that you deserve? For me, sometimes I feel bad. It's called guilt. Sometimes I feel guilty for taking time to myself, to do something for myself, especially like because Quentin works all the time. And so he, on his days off, I'd like to give him time to like rest, and be to himself. But Judah is just kind of like, Daddy, I missed you so much. But sometimes I feel guilty. Like if I have, because me, it's on a schedule. I have a monthly girlfriend date. I'm seeing my friends. I'm not missing brunch. I'm not missing lunch. Okay. Like that is my how I fill my cup. Like that does so much for me. So I'm not missing that. So sometimes I feel guilty because like I feel like Quentin isn't getting, or my partner isn't getting he's not getting the time that he needs. And so then I feel guilty because it's like I'm prioritizing it and making it a point to do it. But I feel guilty because I'm like, what? But he's not, So I deal with a lot of guilt sometimes, and I struggle with that. But I try to remind myself that I deserve this time. I deserve this time to myself. Really busy lives, yes. Sometimes it's just hard to find the time because life is so busy, especially if you are a mom and you are in school, or you are working full time, or your mom working full time and you in school. And like, we have that 5 to 9 job, that second shift job that starts when we get off work and when we get home from school. Like we have to take care of the kids. We have to do that. We have to help them with homework. We have to do all of these things. And so sometimes it's just very hard for us to find the time. And that's where it goes back to that point of like, don't underestimate 10 minutes. 10 minutes every day. 10 minutes first thing in the morning, or 10 minutes right before you go to bed. Don't underestimate that small time. The only obstacle is my job, because being a teacher sometimes requires me to work at home. Other than that, I can get my time in. Well, that's good. But I can understand that because as a former teacher, I took a lot of work home. I don't know about other people, but I took a lot of work home. And I did that like probably all the years that I worked, but I ended up having to learn to leave work at home, like leave work at work on the weekends, because I literally was working all the time, like doing lesson plans, doing something like all the time. It's so consuming being a teacher. And so that's why we need those mental breaks. So I definitely understand that how your job can do that. No guilt here. Well, I'm happy for you, sis, that you don't have no guilt, because I'm struggling over here. All right. So pretty much just to kind of wrap up, I just want you guys to understand the importance and prioritize having time to yourself. Okay. Me time is so important. It's during that time that you are being replenished, being restored. You are getting re-energized, as we were saying, and you're relaxing. It helps you, calm down and not be as stressed. And you have to think about it too. It benefits your family when you get me time. When you are spending the time that you need with yourself and you're getting that, you show up a whole lot better for your family and for your kids. You treat them a whole lot more with care. You're more gentle when you're not on edge and like frazzled all the time and not stressed, because you're getting that time. So it creates like a ripple effect in the home. You see a lot of frustration, a lot of chaos, and a lot of tension. Maybe if you were to take the time to get some me time, you'll see that kind of dwindle. You'll see that kind of like decimate, like it will go away, because you are like the manager of your house. Now, I know, but I believe fully that, the man is the head of the household and all of that. And, as a leader, that trickles down too. But I also feel as a woman, like we just have this, we make the house a home. And so because of us, it's very important that we make sure that we are prioritizing ourselves and getting what we need. Okay. Because it also shows your children, if you have boys. For me, I have boys. So when I take time for myself, it's modeling and showing them that I have a life outside of you. And I hope that it translates when they become husbands, that they'll encourage their wives, like, oh, the kids will be fine. Go do you. I want them to be the type of husbands that they are supportive of their wives and that they can say, like, nah, like you need some time to yourself. I want them to realize that they are not my life. My kids are not my life. Okay. My husband, I love him to death, but he is not my life. I have a whole life and I have interests and I have things outside of them. And so it's important for them to be able to see that boundary so then they know how to do that and model that in their own personal lives. So just know it's going to benefit the family, okay? It may seem selfish. You may deal with guilt like I do, but you are helping your family overall. It's setting a great example for them. So I do want to take the opportunity to thank you again so much. Make sure that you prioritize yourself. Find some me time this week, okay? Because next week, when we have the Hold On To You series at 2 on Sunday, we are going to be discussing connection and how connection helps us to maintain our identity. So again, I want to thank you guys so much. Make sure you prioritize time for yourself. Thank you so much. Thank you. I really worked it out. Thank you. My hair, I try to make it pop in when I'm about to be on live. You know what I'm saying? Because can't let the people see me slipping. They can't catch me slipping. I gotta get the little hair right. But thank you. I appreciate it. But thank you again so much, you guys. Make sure that you prioritize yourself. Plan it out now. Find the time this week to spend it with yourselves. And until next time, I want you to take care of you. Bye.